Welcome, all you creatures of the night. We're back again here on the podcast. It records. It's been a while since our last podcast. We took a hiatus for some time. But we're back, and we hope that you are glad to hear us. Fingers crossed. And this week, we looked at the 2009 Ty West film, The House of the Devil.
I can tell you like it.
I love it. It's perfect. About the deposit?
I'll agree to waive all the deposit stuff. You just give me the first month's down, we'll call it a day, all right? It's hard coming up with all that money, isn't it? It's gonna work out.
You're not the one with $84 in no bank account and a check to write on Monday.
You know what you should do?
Hi. I'm calling in regards to the babysitter flyer posted outside my dorm.
Tonight's big eclipse is now well underway.
I feel a little weird just dropping you out here in the middle of wherever we are.
You have to forgive me, Samantha, because I've not been completely honest.
We're from the desert, you know.
You see, we actually don't have a child.
They lied to you.
I
They're
know.
liars.
Okay, I know you're right. But it's $400. This equals first month's rent and then some, and all I have to do is sit inside and watch TV. This is huge. This one night changes everything for me.
Here we go.
Are you not the babysitter?
Oh my God!
Talk to me, Lord. Talk to me.
And as always, I'm Matt Johnson. If you didn't know that already, I'm the host. I'm here.
You specifically? You're the only one.
I'm the only one here today. Nobody else. It's just me on the podcast. No, I'm joined as always with the magnanimous, the brilliant, and the ever-charming Peter Hansen. He's here. Welcome, Pete.
Thank you, Matt, for forgetting about me at first.
Pete, I'd never forget you. How could I ever forget you? Speaking of never forget, we got Lindsay Clark here as well. And the crowd goes wild. We're all pumped. We're all
I like how she
excited
did
to be
a
back.
little head tilt, like it's a visual. Like, oh, my fans.
They can see us in here.
But what to say about this movie?
Yeah. For those who don't know, House of the Devil is 2009, relatively low-budget independent horror film. It takes place in 73? It's supposed to take place?
Yeah, I think so.
1973, and we're dealing with satanic cults, the myth or the lore of the time of satanic cults being prevalent, and it follows a young college student who's hired as a babysitter to an isolated house deep in some forest somewhere, and she's soon caught up in a bizarre and dangerous turn of events, if you will, is the House of the Devil.
Babysitter is what she turns out, but it was supposed to be house sitting.
You saying she turns out to be house sitting?
Well, no, she was hired to watch the house, but then they're like, "Oh, you gotta watch our crazy grandma."
Yeah, because flyers were for a babysitter because they thought it would be easier to attract someone as a babysitter instead of old folks.
Right. So only slightly misleading.
Yeah, which is already a warning flag, I think, if I'm lured into a house into the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, there are some definite red flags there.
Yeah.
Would you leave immediately?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be out of there. But the thing is, she needed the money. Our main character is Samantha, right? Correct? That's her name?
Yep.
and she's hard up. She needs the money. She's a college student. Her roommate is just a total jerk. She blows her off having sex all the time. So she needs out. She needs a new apartment, which is the start of the movie. She's looking for a new place. So she's hard up on cash, and the guy's offering her extra money to house sit and watch her old mother, I guess.
Yeah, that was pretty much what desperation looks like, taking that gig. But yeah, director, I read that he wrote it, directed it, edited it, so he's pretty much a triple threat. This is really his own project, and I do like how, I feel like it took a long time for, us to finally get some action in this plot, but I do like how he was building his character. We kind of got to see who Samantha is and kind of get her backstory and see what she's all about, and so leading up until the final act, I definitely think we got a good sense of who she is and what kind of story he wanted to tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that, and I particularly enjoy these type of horror movies where it's like the slow build, the slow burn, if you will, or it builds the suspense to it, rather than, you get your jump scares in there, where the suspense is built just by following the main character, as you said. So you get to know kind of what makes her tick and everything. So you're learning what's going on as she does, in real time. It almost seems like. Mm-hmm. And so it builds the suspense better for me, I think.
Yeah, I think that was the purpose of, as you said, the slow burn, and it was definitely intentional. I think that's exactly like everything, every decision was very, very intentional.
Did that, the patriarch of the family creep you out in any way?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Almost instantly. Yeah.
I think he just has that look to him, and do you want to know why?
Always.
Please, Pete. I'm all ears.
Shall I enlighten you?
Yes.
He was, the movie Manhunter, the first movie about, what's his face? Silence of the Lambs.
Hannibal Lecter?
Yeah, thank you.
There you go.
He played the serial killer in Manhunter.
Okay.
So, I don't know if it was Buffalo Bill in that one, because Manhunter was a different novel than what Silence of the Lambs was based off of, I want to say.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a different guy. I just looked it up just now. Different killer. Because that one's about Will Graham. And it's what the show Hannibal is about Will Graham.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And how it leads up to him going insane or whatever.
Okay. So this actor you're saying gets pretty typecast into a serial killer role.
A creepy dude, yeah.
He comes off as creep. He does. He comes off as visually creepy and unsettling.
Yeah.
It's because he's too friendly.
He's too friendly, the way he presents himself, and then what he looks like. You think there's something behind his eyes that he's not telling you.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Lindsay?
I have nothing to say. He creeped me out. He nailed it.
What about who was the other creepy person?
The
pizza guy?
Yeah, I was gonna say him.
You want some extra anchovies?
Yeah, this pizza played a big role in this movie. It made me want it.
It just made a bad porno at that point.
Yeah.
For that split instance, I'm just wait, where is this going? But so you were saying how it was satanic cult film or whatever. Is that what genre you put it in? If you put it in a subgenre of horror, or would you put it in a haunted house or slasher?
I mean, I guess satanic cult, but almost instead of slasher, like a splatter subgenre. I don't think it really was completely a slasher film. More of like, and it wasn't really splatter until we said like the third act of the movie, the last 15 minutes. The rest of it could have been described as a haunted house until you see the third act, but it's not really a haunted house film. It just creates that atmosphere of you almost feel like the house is living.
Mm-hmm.
It just creates it creates the fear that like just being alone in a house can be like late at night, especially a house that you're not familiar with. Just that general fear of someone's lurking around the corner.
Yeah. I definitely think it has elements of that.
Do you guys think that this movie translates well with mass audiences?
I don't think so. I'd like to think so, but I think if it was like a wide release, people would just say it was boring or like it didn't scare them or something. And until like the last 15 minutes, and because of that, they would say it's not a good movie. I feel like.
Well, yeah, I would agree with you there because like the style, even like the style of what the movie was, I would say it's more 70s than 80s to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because 80s movies were much more ridiculous and I think more special effects heavy. At least for my experiences. Mm-hmm. And this kind of reminded me of Let's Scare Jessica to Death, which is quite a reference because I don't think many people have seen that movie.
Nope.
That's another real slow burn movie.
Mm-hmm.
Where it just takes a long time to get there, and then like crazy fucking shit happens the last 15 minutes of the movie. Mm-hmm. Which is exactly what this movie is.
Yeah.
And
what were you gonna say?
No, I was waiting for you to say something.
I just feel like the final act, like, it definitely grossed me out. I was definitely terrified, but I feel like it was just so short in comparison to the rest of the movie. And maybe that's what he was going for, but I just kind of was like, I don't know. I didn't feel like there was that much suspense leading up to it.
I think the music for me definitely just made me unsettled throughout the whole time. Mm-hmm. And then it just had like a little peculiar things happening throughout every plot point. There was like very minute things. So it was just like, it didn't seem like stuff was happening, but in the right, like, let's say if the music did get to you, like it got to me, it just made me really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think the first time I saw this movie, I was like blown away because I thought I was just like sweating my way through, expecting what was going to happen, and then it went in a whole direction I didn't expect to happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I loved it for it, and that actually was the first Ty West movie I ever saw.
This one?
Yeah, and then he's had random success amongst cult horror fans, I would say.
Yeah. Isn't The Innkeepers pretty,
yeah,
I guess famous by him? Yeah.
Yeah, that I would say as probably just as much recognition. I would say House of the Devil gets more critical recognition.
Yeah, definitely. And is The Sacrament by Ty West too?
Yeah, I enjoy that one a lot as well too.
That's good. Yeah. And you're talking, and you said if you thought like a mass audience would find this appealing. I was surprised. I looked at the box office of this movie, and it was less than $1 million. It was 900,000. But I was surprised to see what it got in the box office. Have you looked that up, Pete?
I'm looking at it currently.
Yeah, it was like 100,000.
$101,215.
Wow.
Which I didn't like really remember it coming out, but I thought that just seems really, really low.
It must have been like lower than 30 theaters around the country.
Yeah. Damn.
Because that's pretty low.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine, like, I bet since it seems like he funded everything himself, because, like Lindsay said, he directed it, he edited it, he wrote it.
Yeah.
It seems like he just, like, didn't have any way to advertise it.
Mm-hmm.
And probably only got in, I don't know, I'm assuming some kind of fest it went through. I have no idea, but it seems like a type of movie to go through, like South by Southwest or Horror Fest, or I don't even know if that's what it's called, but I think it's right.
I'm sure there's a horror fest.
There's a screen fest. I know that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I definitely think he captured the tone very well, and kind of the era that it was supposed to be in. I think that he did that very well.
What did he do well? I couldn't quite hear you.
I think that he captured the tone of like the set of where this whole story takes place, like, you know, kind of throwback to 70s, 80s. Like, I think he did that very well.
Yeah. I thought from like the fashion and like just what they're wearing, their styles was very the 70s or the 80s, but also just like we shot it in 16 millimeter.
Yes.
I read. So it wasn't digital. He shot it in like old like grainy 16 millimeter, and like the colors he chose I thought were very. I mean the palette I thought was very retro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that definitely helped added to the whole atmosphere of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it kind of gives you a feeling that she was more on her own, because like she has a telephone, but it's not the same as a cell phone.
No. And Peter, I was going to ask you this because you wrote a blog on it on our website about digital versus like film horror, and when they transitioned over. So I was wondering what your thoughts are that he chose to use the 60 millimeter film instead of digital. 'Cause
Oh yeah, that blog post is a little different, but I'll gladly comment.
Yeah.
That blog post is more about
VHS.
Yeah, like Blu-ray versus, like, I guess you could say like iTunes,
Mm-hmm.
like watching it on your computer or whatever. But I definitely enjoyed it, like, myself, because it definitely gave like the whole atmosphere a better feel for everything, and I think it also gave he definitely gave like film snobs like more reason to like him, because they're like, oh, film is so great. This, like, watch. I don't even know how you cut film. That's great. I don't know how you cut film either. I don't know how the fuck they do it. And they tape it together. I don't know.
Yeah.
I also read that it was filmed in 18 days, which is pretty fast compared to most. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty reminiscent of like how they did horror films and back then too. I mean, now they still kind of do it, but not as. I feel like in the 80s for sure they just like plowed right through it because there's no plot.
Yeah, I feel like every sort of little choice he made was very deliberate. He knew exactly what story he wanted to tell.
Did you guys want to go into more detail about the ending? So that's probably the most interesting to talk about for this movie.
Yeah.
I want to get your thoughts and feelings of the last 15 minutes of the movie. I could tell you mine. I felt great. I really enjoyed it.
Good. So was your favorite part of the whole movie?
Yeah, it made the whole movie watching like worth it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
But I want to hear you two twisted minds. No, just what you thought about it.
Take it away, Matt.
Me? Alright. I'll take it. It wasn't really what I was expecting, especially I mean, she's going upstairs and the door starts to slowly open, so I'm expecting maybe someone to come out of there. But then she starts like going in and out of consciousness, and I like that technique. And then all of a sudden we're in this basement. I'm assuming it's the basement, and she's tied up with in a pentagram.
I thought it was the attic.
What?
I thought it was the attic, but go on.
Is it the attic? Oh, well, she was going upstairs, so it was the attic. Okay, yeah. and then all of a sudden it breaks in with her screaming, and it's very unsettling. I agree. I liked it, like you said, but because it kind of gave me like I felt complete with something with the movie besides just this brooding atmosphere the whole time. But I felt really uncomfortable throughout until the sequence ended, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It was gross. Like I said before, I watched it at lunch at work, and
a great time to watch it.
I was like, don't mind me, I'm just watching this horror movie. Yeah, that was rough, but I mean, it definitely, I think, that's what we'd been waiting for, you know, and I do wish it had been a little bit longer, just because, you know, everything leading up to it felt so long to me, but, I mean, yeah, and then again, I don't know, like I said, maybe it was just about the right amount of time, because it was so gross, and I had to look away. Like, I couldn't even, like, so I definitely think, like, it succeeded in terms of, you know, gross out factor and all that. And it definitely took a few turns that I wasn't expecting toward the very end. Like, with her kind of confronting the Ullman in, what was it, Graveyard? And then after that, yeah, took a few turns I didn't see coming. So that was kind of cool.
Is there any specific incident, like one shot in the final sequence that really grossed you out the most? That you were like, what was the scene that made you turn away?
When she's like drawing like with blood on like Sam, I was just like, like I know it's part of their ritual, but like shit, like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The scene
that was a little much.
Was gross.
Huh?
I said the scene that I thought was gross is like don't they like pour like blood in her throat or whatever?
That got me. Oh.
Yeah,
I was like, back up.
I was like, no. It was pretty fucking gross.
Yeah.
That movie's fucked up.
Yeah.
That fucking Ty West. That was like, I think that one. I wish he did more because he really hasn't done that much.
He's a relatively young director, right?
What?
He's a relatively young director, right?
Yeah, it just seems like he's been in the game for a while.
Yeah.
And hasn't had any mainstream success. Which is pretty disappointing because that's what the horror community needs is like a young director to have mainstream success. Because there's just like there's no go-to director really in horror. They keep making teen horror movies now. Like they just keep making them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, I think Ty West he's venturing into like other genres now. He's doing a western. You hear about that? In the Valley of Violence coming out.
Yeah, I did see that
with Ethan Hawke. So that's like more. It's not horror. It won't be, but it's more mainstream. I think it's a big studio backing him.
Interesting.
How'd you guys feel about the ending?
After.
No worries.
Like the final scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're in full-fledged spoilers now, I guess.
Yeah.
It was a little, I mean, I think it was a good ending. For me personally, I was like, wow, like that is a little too much, like. But I think it was good.
No, I liked it. I liked the ending too. Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't expect that, but, you know, it's all good.
That's true. I expected it to end in the previous scene. I guess we're full on spoilers, but in the cemetery, I expected it to end there, after she. So to see the ending, and that conclusion.
Yeah, you would think, okay, you know, story's over, but it wasn't.
Not yet.
So, to kind of conclude things, do you guys defend or destroy? And then I have a little bonus question to you. would you put it
A bonus question.
in top? Would you put it in the top 5 or the bottom 5 of the movies we watched? Lindsay, it'd be a little difficult for you since this is your third movie. But you could put it in a rank as well.
Okay.
Lindsay, you want to take this one first?
I really do like the overall feel. Like I said, I really think he did a very nice job in capturing, the era that this is supposed to be in. I think it's a really nice nod to 70s and 80s. Definitely has elements of slashers and haunted house, kind of genres. I do like it. I don't know. So I think I will defend it. There are some things that, I don't think are perfect about it, but overall I'm going to say that I defend it. And, as far as ranking goes, I'm going to say, I'm going to put it behind Misery, but ahead of Housebound. And that's what I get.
I kind of feel similar to Lindsay on this, but I toss back and forth whether to defend or to destroy it, because I kind of fall prey to movies like The Artist and stuff that are homages or to these old film styles, and we love them because they remind us of that, and but does that make them good? Essentially, just because they're copying something that was in the past. I think Scream did something a little different, where it was pulling from stuff, but it was its own original thing. It wasn't exactly like a 80s slasher looking like this one was, but I still think it holds up. It's its own original story with its own twist. It's pretty difficult to he had the title card. The title sequence was almost identical, a really cool 80s looking title sequence, which I was on board for when I saw that. So I think I defend it overall. I think I like the slow burn, and I'd recommend it. Yeah, it was good. Now, in my top 5, you said?
Just to make it easy, top 5 or bottom 5, or would you put it somewhere in the middle?
Okay.
I know.
We've done a few.
Yeah, we have.
I wouldn't.
Initial reaction.
Yeah, initial reaction. I'd put it in between. I don't think it makes my top 5. There's some that we've done that I think Misery, that the three of us have done together, I think is above it. We've done Scream on here. I think is above it. That's off the top of my head, but it's not the bottom 5. We did. I love it, but we did Urban Legend, and I think it's better than Urban Legend. So it's somewhere in the middle of the pack for me. It's better than some we've done. Yeah.
Interesting to hear all these opinions.
What you got, Pete?
Is it just a shocker that I'm defending it? I'm pretty much defended every movie that I watched.
You're defending it, Pete? Oh man.
Yeah, and you pretty much said everything that I wanted to say about it. That it was a great build up for me, and it came up with a shocker. Didn't expect it, but part of me wants to say I wish something else happened in the build up, but then again, like Lindsay said earlier, does that take away from the shocker of the ending? So it's kind of hard to say. But other than that, I wholeheartedly enjoy the movie.
What about your ranking of it?
Oh, yeah.
I probably wouldn't put it in top 5 either.
But not the bottom 5?
No, it's definitely not in the bottom.
No.
It's probably actually 7 or something.
Like a soft 7?
Yeah, just barely misses it.
Not quite.
Yeah, but I think that ends the discussion of House of the Devil. Ty West, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Check us out on the Twitters and the Facebook and our blog posts. We got them fresh. They're coming out daily, hourly sometimes. We are on top of that content. So just let us know your feedback. We'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. Until next time, I'm Matt Johnson, and I remain in the shadows.
I'm Peter Hansen, and I don't know, I guess I do the same.
I'm Lindsay Clark, and I still gotta think of something that I gotta say.